Hi, my name is Samantha Tab, and this is my Module 12 case study, A New Role for the Parents Organization. So the people that were involved, before I say what happened, I'm just going to talk about who was involved. The principal, who is me, the PTA, and then a newly formed PTO. The teachers are stakeholders in this, and then obviously it affects families, and which includes the students at the school. So what exactly happened? First, there was a PTA at a school, and they wanted to disband and become a PTO. They had a meeting without the principal to discuss policies and discuss some things that they wanted to change without the principal's knowledge. So when the principal met with them, he met with them to talk about the back to school night. Well, they had their own ideas for the back to school night. They wanted to change it because they felt like the original back to school night was not successful necessarily for the families, and they wanted it to become a curriculum night where the teachers possibly went beyond or were going to be expected to go beyond their contract time and stay after school every single night, even if it wasn't their specific curriculum night. So then the PTO also wants to know what's going on in classrooms, and they want to be more involved in the decision making and policy making. And then it comes down to me. I'm wondering why I wasn't a part of this meeting, and I was totally left out of all of this. And I really want to respond to their needs and their wants. However, the school also has needs and wants, and we have to weigh the pros and cons and come up with a plan where everyone is heard and everyone feels safe, supported, and that we can move forward collaboratively. So there are several issues in this case. So I'm going to start with the laws. So is there a possible breach of contract time for teachers? FERPA, privacy laws of the students, as far as the PTO possibly doing some sort of critiquing and going into classrooms and evaluations in the school. Are parents even qualified to be evaluators? I guess that's more of like an ethical thing. However, it is like a breach. It has to be some sort of breach of something. It doesn't seem very lawful, I guess. Is this PTO, are they qualified to create policy or even have a say in policy? And then could this essentially eventually become some sort of type of harassment? I know sometimes parent groups can get political, or sometimes they have their favorites in a school, and sometimes it ends well for teachers and sometimes it necessarily doesn't. If the PTO doesn't like a certain teacher or the way that they do things, they don't make their life easy there. So I feel like this could eventually be a harassment case. And then the reputation. So it affects me, the principal's reputation. This is the school that I run, and everything comes back to me. So I need to be aware of that. And that is an issue sometimes for principals. So then the reputations of the teachers. We have parents going in and evaluating, or some sort of policy making thing. And so obviously it could hurt a teacher's reputation, and that would not be okay. Or then our school's reputation, and even the parent organization's reputation, as far as getting people to want to join or leaving. That would not be very good if a lot of people didn't want to be a part of a parent organization at a school. And then ethical. Does the PTO have this much right? I've never heard of that. Or why do they think that why are they qualified to say what a good teacher looks like or does not look like? The quality of teaching. Did they go to college for teaching? Did they go to college for administration? Do they know curriculum and instruction? So for them to feel like they want to be a part of the decision making and policy making seems pretty lofty, in my opinion. So what has happened in my one sentence summary? Everyone has the school's best interest in mind. I think we could agree with that. While the PTA is disbanded to create a PTO with the hopes that they can be more involved in the school decision making and policy making, I, the principal, need to make sure that all stakeholders are equally involved and everyone feels supported. So they want to be more involved, and we need to come together to create a plan where everyone is heard. So the known facts that I have: I'm the principal. The PTA became a PTO. There's a young attorney who is the new parent organization leader. There's teachers, parents, and students involved. The place, it's at a school. The programs are the PTA and the PTO. Parent involvement, back to school night, and evaluations, curriculum, policy, and all of that. The unknown facts. I feel like there are a ton of unknown facts, but some of them are with the people. Why did the PTA disband? What do the teachers think? Is there a union? And then other parents involved that in the PTO or PTA? How much say? Is it just the main board that's making these decisions? Are there any parents who are involved but not necessarily on the board? What do they think? Place, is this a public or a private school? That could make a really big difference in this. What level of education is this? Elementary, middle school, high school? What kind of area is this school in? Is it rural, urban, or suburban? And then the location of this school. And then the programs. Are other schools having this issue? Do other schools have PTOs or do they have PTAs, and how are they run? And then do other schools give parents this much power? So could there be, I'm prioritizing the information. Could there be damage? Absolutely. This situation could and would damage stakeholders and the community. That would not be good. Who has stakes in the outcome? School, teachers, and students. And then also the PTO, PTA. And then the notification of all stakeholders. I do not believe that all stakeholders were consulted. Is there like an attorney? I know that PTOs have their own bylaws and they can create their own bylaws and they have to be agreed upon by the people in your district that is in charge of that. So have they created bylaws? Are there bylaws already in this district? So we probably should talk to the attorney, and then district, and then teachers. This is going to ultimately affect the teachers, and they should be a part of this team. So I don't know if they were notified, and they should be. And then other administration, just to collaborate with them if they have a PTO, just to see how they run their PTO and how it goes. That would be a good stakeholder to notify or even just get some information from. And then decision making. While I do know that there is a lot of things that I don't know about this, I do think that there is enough information to make somewhat of a decision. I know it might not be the final decision, but it could be a starting point decision. But I do wish that I had a little bit more information. So here goes. So I have a couple options here that I would want to do. So obviously do nothing, shut it down, work collaboratively with the PTO, and then revert back to the old way and just possibly try to find a new, if the PTO isn't satisfied with this, reverting back to the old PTA, then finding a new PTA board. So I'm going to do the pros and cons of each of those options. So if I do nothing, obviously it's easy. There's no responsibility taken, and there could be more parent involvement if I do nothing and let them do whatever they want. Some parents might like that. The cons of that would be teacher and student backlash. As a teacher, I don't really know if I would want parents to be having that much say in a school when they don't even have a background in like what we do. We're the professionals. And then community backlash. Some people be like the same thing that the teachers say. Are they qualified to do that? And if a lot of teachers don't like that, there could be some hiring situations. Teachers might leave, and then there's a whole another thing of problems that we need to address. Parent backlash, and then legal and ethical issues for this subject. So that was the do nothing option. Then we have the shut it down option. So the pros would be the teachers would feel supported, probably. There would be less internal conflict, as the PTO probably is not in the building all the time, but the teachers are, and so internal conflict is actually something that really, really, really needs to be addressed, and hopefully not in your building. It would also let the PTO know their place, because I really don't think that this is their place. And then another pro would be different parent involvement. So if they weren't very if the PTO wasn't very happy, then there could be different parent involvement, give other parents a time to shine. And then cons would be maybe less parent support, depending on what side you're on. If you like this plan, then you probably won't like what I have to say as a principal, and that would lead to less parent support as far as the PTO leaving. People pulling their children from the school. It happens in Colorado. It's a whole choice state. So you can choice your kid into any school that you want. You just have to be approved to go there by the principal. And so that also means that you have the option to pull your kid at any time and put them in another school. So that would definitely be something that this shut it down option, we would need to weigh that. So then the other option would be working together collaboratively. The pros would be doing what's best for kids, bringing parents and teachers together on one team, which will support and enhance learning for all. A teamwork type committee with teachers and the parents. All voices are heard in this because it will be a committee. And then there could possibly be professional development for all stakeholders involved, which would be really, really good. The cons would be the PTO might be a little bit bitter that they didn't get their full way because they might not want to compromise. And then depending on the changes, some teachers might feel uncomfortable. So that's why the teachers also are great stakeholders and they would be a really, really good part of this committee. And then the last option was just not doing a PTO and just having a PTA. So the pros would be there's no change. The principal still makes the decisions. Hopefully there would still be some parent involvement. I know PTAs have set laws and rules to follow because it is a nationwide organization or association, sorry, Parent Teacher Association. And so they do have their own rules and laws to follow that don't need to be approved because it is what it is. Teachers remain under the complete control of the principal and not the PTO. And then the cons would be there's no change and backlash of the parent organization. They may not like it and then they might pull their kids out of the school. So my best option would be working together collaboratively, the parents and the teachers and administration all working together on one team because that has proven that when there is more parent involvement, children are a lot more successful because there's a lot more communication going on. And then, so if I had to come up with a plan, step 1, meet with the PTA, PTO. Step 2, come to an agreement/compromise together, tell them my decision, but then let them know that I'm open to suggestions. So then get staff members on board to become a part of the team consistently would be step 3. I know at my school, there has to be one rep from each grade level. I'm our first grade rep to go to the PTA meetings and have a say on things. I actually enjoy it because I do also have kids in my school. But I do think that that's important to have a rep from each grade level. And then 4, set expectations. Let the PTO know about teacher contracts and expectations. They can't stay after work until 6 or 7 o'clock every day in 1 week because that's not in their contract and it's not appropriate. Step 5, create a list of things that the PTO can and should be involved in collaboratively ahead of time so that throughout the year you can be thinking like, all right, we help with this, we help with this, we help with this, we help with this. And so that everyone's minds can be set at the beginning and the expectations can be clear. And then step 6 would be to celebrate and put it into action. All right, and then these are the standards. It would be NELP Standard 5 and then Standard Component 5.2. Here are my references, and thank you for watching my video. I hope you guys have a good time.